in his home state of New York. And now for the local weather. It's currently 28 degrees Celsius under partly cloudy skies in Busan. We'll see the last bout of clouds this afternoon before a sunny Chuseok holiday. It's time to wrap up this hour's news. Thank you for joining. You're listening to BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Coming up next is Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Amidst the 2023 Asian Games in Hangzhou, China, athletes from Busan are delivering on outstanding performances. National representative sailor Cho Won-woo secured the gold medal well in advance with his exceptional skills. Also, South Korea clinched gold in the men's running target mixed shooting event, which includes Ha Kwang-chul from Busan City. 네, 항저우 아시안게임에서 선전하는 국가대표 선수들로 인해서 국민들의 추석 연휴가 더욱더 즐거워질 것 같습니다. Yes, thanks to the outstanding performances of these national representatives at the Hangzhou Asian Games, it seems that the Chuseok holiday will be even more joyful for the citizens. Well, this is Busan Worldwide, and I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon. Good morning, listeners. Welcome to Busan Worldwide on this Wednesday, already Hump Day, September 27. Thank you so much for tuning in to Busan Worldwide and BFM, 부산영어방송. Now, Cho Won-woo, often referred to as Busan's own, has secured the gold medal in the men's RSX windsurfing at the Hangzhou Asian Games. Now, yachting has different format depending on the shape of the boat or board used, and the format in which Cho Won-woo competed is RSX windsurfing. It is a standing format where the athlete must continually control the board with their body and constantly perform pumping movements, making it one of the most physically demanding format in windsurfing. 이 조원우 선수는 요트의 도시 부산에서 나고 자란 선수라 부산의 아들이라는 수식어가 딱 맞는 것 같은데요. Another athlete, Mr. Ha Kwang-chul from Busan, brought home the gold medal in the men's 10-meter running target mixed shooting event, and it's even more delightful to know that he is from our city, Busan. 자, 10월 8일까지 항저우 아시안 게임은 계속되는데요. Yes, the Hangzhou Asian Games will continue until October 8th. So here's to hoping that we'll continue to hear more exciting news from these athletes. Well, listeners, thank you again for tuning in to Busan Worldwide for Wednesday edition of the show. Let me briefly tell you what we have going on for the next hour. We have the interview, which is our main segment. Today, we're going to be talking about what's called modular classrooms. And if you don't know what that is, stay tuned for that. And after that, we have Up Busan 2030 and a special segment titled 통계로 보는 부의경 or Stats Spotlight Busan, Ulsan, Gyeongnam, which is a special segment that we have every last Wednesday of the month, so stay tuned for that. And as always, we are live on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and search BEFM or 부산영어방송 and check out our studio as well as our guests. Actually, we have two guests. We will have two guests in the studio later on, and as well as send us free messages on there as well. From Busan to the world, Busan Worldwide. 오늘의 더 인터뷰 라이브로 만나보시죠. It is time for the interview. Overcrowded classrooms is a problem that is on the rise due to the construction and redevelopment of new towns and neighborhoods. That is why education authorities are actively introducing modular classrooms that can be quickly installed and dismantled to solve this problem. And recently, the Busan City Council enacted an ordinance to ensure the safety of students using modular classrooms. So joining us is Mr. Park Jung-mook. He's the vice chairman of the Busan Metropolitan Council, who was the person that introduced the ordinance. 신도시 건설, 재개발 등으로 과밀학급 문제가 발생하고 있는 가운데 교육청에서는 이 문제를 해결하기 위해 빠르게 설치하고 해체할 수 있는 모듈러 교실을 적극 도입하고 있는데요. 이번에 부산시의회에서 모듈러 교실의 안전을 확보하기 위한 조례를 제정했습니다. 이 조례안을 발의한 부산시의회 교육위원회 박중묵 부의장 나오셨습니다. 안녕하십니까?
예, 반갑습니다.
네, 반갑습니다. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio today to talk about something so important, especially when it comes to education. Now, not only in Busan, but nationwide, education authorities are actively introducing what's called modular classrooms to solve the problem of overcrowded classrooms. So, let's start with what a modular classroom is. 부산시뿐만 아니라 전국적으로 교육청에서 과밀학급의 문제를 해결하고자 모듈러 교실을 적극 도입하고 있다는데요. 이 모듈러 교실이 무엇인지부터 짚어보면 좋겠습니다.
네, 예전에는 이제 학교 건물 증축 공사를 한다든지 할 때 운동장 한쪽에 컨테이너 박스 안에 임시 교실을 설치하고 학생들이 열악한 환경에서 수업을 받았습니다. 학습권 침해에 관한 문제가 많았습니다. 그러나 반면에 모듈러 교실은 학교 건물 공사나 과밀학급 해소를 위해 임시적으로 활용한다는 측면에서 기존 컨테이너 건물과 유사하지만 반면에 상대적으로 안전하고 쾌적하며 단기간에 설치할 수 있다는 장점이 있습니다. 모듈러 교실은 모듈러형 이동식 학교 교실로 레고처럼 조립 설치할 수 있는 학교 교실입니다. 공장에서 골조, 마감재, 전기 설비 등을 갖춘 규격화된 건물을 완성하고 현장에서는 운송된 모듈을 단순하게 조립하여 완성하는 건물이라고 보시면 될 것 같습니다.
그렇군요. 이 모듈러 교실은 컨테이너 건물과 유사하지만 안전하고 쾌적하고 단기간에 설치할 수 있다고 말씀해 주셨어요. So he said, in the past, when school buildings were built or being built or expanded, temporary classrooms were set up in container boxes on the playground, and students were being taught in poor conditions. There were many problems students were facing, particularly infringement of their right to learn. Now, modular classrooms are used temporarily during school building construction or to relieve overcrowded classes. Until now, they've been relatively safe, comfortable, and can be installed in a short period of time. These modular mobile classrooms or school classrooms can be assembled and installed very easily, and each unit of classroom has frames, finishes, electrical facilities, and finished classrooms are then transported to school sites. Well, then, how many modular classrooms are being used in Busan? 현재 우리 부산에는 모듈러 교실이 얼마나 되나요?
이 부산시 교육청 자료를 참고로 하면은
네.
2021년 강서구 명윤초를 시작으로 초등학교 11곳, 중학교 2곳, 총 13학교에 모듈러 교실이 설치되어 있습니다. 학교별로 짧게는 2년, 길게는 5년간 사용하는 것으로 계획되어 있습니다.
그렇군요. So according to data from the Busan Office of Education, modular classrooms have been installed in 13 schools. So he said 11 elementary schools and 2 middle schools, starting with Myeongwon Elementary School in Gangso District in 2021. And classrooms are used from shortest period of 2 years to longest 5 years. Now, some have pointed out that modular classrooms are just container classrooms, and for some parents, it seems to be an alternative to not being able to afford a proper classroom. So, what do you think about this? 이 모듈러 교실이 학부모 입장에서는 제대로 된 교실을 마련하지 못하는 상황에서 나온 대안으로 느껴지기도 할 텐데요. 현실적으로 모듈러 교실이 불가피한 건가요?
네, 전반적으로 학생 수가 부산은 감소하고 있지만은 다만 강서나 정관 신도시 등 일부 지역의 경우 학교 과밀이 매우 심각합니다. 학교 신설이 쉽지 않다 보니 과밀 문제를 해소하기 위해 임시 교실을 운영할 수밖에 없는 상황입니다.
네.
또한 학교 시설 증개축 공사 이후로 모듈러 교실을 운영하고 있는데 현재 교육부에서 그린 스마트 미래학교 사업이라고 해서 40년 이상 경과한 노후 학교를 개축하고 리모델링하는 사업을 추진 중에 있습니다. 부산 지역만 해도 20년 전에는 전체 학교 건물 중 40년 이상 된 노후 건물이 11%였으나 현재는 30%를 넘어섰습니다. 앞으로 학교 건물 노후화는 더욱 심화될 것으로 보입니다. 새로운 교육환경 조성을 위해서는 임시 교사 활용이 현재로서는 불가피한 사항입니다.
그렇군요. 이 새로운 교육 환경 조성을 위해서는 임시 교실을 운영할 수밖에 없는 상황이라고 설명해 주셨는데요. Now he shared that although the number of students is decreasing, there is a serious problem of student overcrowding in new city and towns such as Gangsa district and Jeongwan as well. Since it is not easy to build new schools, they have no choice but to operate temporary classrooms to solve the overcrowding, and they also operate modular classrooms when they are expanding or renovating school facilities. And the Ministry of Education is currently promoting a project to renovate and remodel old schools that are more than 40 years old called the Green Smart Future School Project. In the Busan area alone, 20 years ago, 11% of all school buildings were old buildings over 40 years old, but right now it has exceeded 30%. So in the future, the aging of school buildings will intensify. So in order to create a new environment, educational environment, it is inevitable to utilize these temporary classrooms. Well, while districts and schools say modular classrooms are performing as well as traditional classrooms, parents do have concerns. So are modular classrooms really safe? 교육청과 학교는 모듈러 교실이 일반 교실 수준의 성능을 갖췄다고 설명하지만 학부모의 입장에서는 걱정스러운 것도 사실입니다. 이 모듈러 교실이 확실히 안전한가요?
네. 전국적으로 모듈러 교실이 늘어나다 보니까 교육당국에서도 학생들이 안전하게 사용할 수 있는 임시 교실을 차질 없이 공급하기 위해서 노력하고 있는 실정입니다. 소방시설 등에 있어서도 기존 학교 건물보다 강화된 기준을 적용하고 있으며 피난, 방화, 내진, 단열, 환기 채광 등도 기존 학교 건물과 동등한 성능을 갖추도록 하고 있습니다. 모듈러 교실은 사전 제작돼 모듈화된 형태의 건축물입니다. 컨테이너와 같은 가건물이 아니기 때문에 건축법에서 규정하고 있는 것들을 모두 만족을 해야 합니다. 구조적으로 안전하고 화재에도 안전하고 단열도 잘 되고 난방도 잘 되고 환기, 채광, 조명 등이 의무적으로 잘 갖춰져야 하는 건물이라고 보시면 될 것 같습니다.
그렇군요. So, as the number of modular classrooms is increasing across the country, education authorities are working hard to ensure the uninterrupted supply of temporary classrooms that students can use safely. Standards for the fire safety are also being applied, and evacuation, fire protection, earthquake resistance, insulation, ventilation, and lighting are being made to be up to standards to those existing school buildings as well. And modular classrooms are prefabricated facilities, and they meet all the requirements stipulated by the building codes for schools. He said that the modular classrooms are structurally safe, fire safe, well insulated, well heated, and well equipped with mandatory ventilation and lighting as well. Now then, tell us the details in the proposed Making Modular Classroom Safe Ordinance. 이번에 발의한 모듈러 교실 안전 확보 조례안에는 어떤 내용들이 담겨 있나요?
네, 불가피하게 임시 교실을 이용해야 하는 학생들에게 학습권 침해를 최소화하고 안전한 교육 환경을 제공하는 것이 무엇보다 중요하다고 생각합니다. 이러한 관점에서 조례안을 작성했습니다. 조례에서는 우선 설치 및 운영에 관한 기본 계획을 매년 수립하도록 했고 교육부 기준을 준수하여 구조 및 피난, 방화, 소방, 환기, 채광 등의 요소를 포함한 성능 기준을 마련하도록 했습니다. 또한 사전 검토 단계에서는 향후 유지 관리 과정까지 전 과정을 아우르는 가이드라인을 교육청이 마련하여 제공하도록 했으며 연 2회 이상 모듈러 교실 설치 운영에 관한 실태를 점검하고 평가하도록 했습니다. 또한 올 초 동래구 모 초등학교 모듈러 교실의 공기질 문제가 지적된 바 있는데 이와 관련하여 공기질 검사를 정기적으로 실시하여 학교 홈페이지에 공개하도록 하는 규정도 포함을 했습니다.
그렇군요. 이 학습권 침해를 최소화하고 안전한 교육 환경을 제공하는 것에 포커스를 두었다고 말씀해 주셨는데요. Now he shared that it is of utmost importance to minimize the infringement of learning rights and provide a safe educational environment for students who are forced to use temporary classrooms. And that is why he and the council drafted the ordinance from this perspective. The ordinance requires the establishment of a basic plan for the installation and operation of modular classrooms on an annual basis. It also requires the establishment of performance standards including structure, evacuation, fire protection, ventilation, and lighting in compliance with the Ministry of Education's standards. The ordinance requires the Ministry of Education to prepare and provide guidelines covering the entire process from the preliminary review stage to the future maintenance process of the classrooms as well. Finally, it requires the ministry to inspect and evacuate the installation and operation of modular classrooms at least twice a year. And also, he shared that earlier this year, air quality problems in a modular classrooms at an elementary school in Dongnae district were pointed out, which is why they also included a provision requiring the school to regularly conduct air quality inspection and disclose them on the school's website. So it seems like there's a lot of things prepared for the safety when it comes to making modular classrooms safe here in Busan. Now, listeners, if you're just tuning into Busan Worldwide, we're in the middle of the interview with our guest, Mr. Park Chung-mook. He is the vice chairman of the Busan Metropolitan Council, who was the person that introduced the ordinance that we just spoke about for the safety of students using modular classrooms. We have some messages coming in. Thursday님께서는 교실 증축을 한정없이 기다리는 것보단 빠르게 설치하고 안전하게 운영된다면 좋은 것 같아요라고 보내주셨습니다. And I absolutely agree. Just waiting around for the upgrade and renovation of schools, that can't happen without these special modular classrooms indeed. Now, let's turn and touch upon a slightly different issue. After the passing of a teacher in Seoul, the seriousness of the lack of authority that teachers have became a social issue here in South Korea. And your education committee had heard the voices of teachers on this matter. So what did they say? 이 서울 서희초 교사 사망 사건 이후 추락한 교권에 대한 심각성이 사회적 문제로 대두되고 있는데요. 이번에 교육위원회가 선생님의 현장 목소리를 들었다고 합니다. 선생님들은 어떤 말씀들을 하셨나요?
네, 이번에 교육위원회가 주관한 부산 공교육 활성화 방안 모색 토론회에서는 교원의 교육활동 보호와 행정 업무 경감이라는 두 개 주제를 놓고 학교 현장의 교육력 회복을 위한 고민들을 나눴습니다. 첫 번째 주제인 교원의 교육활동 보호와 관련해서는 제도와 현장 간의 괴리감을 없앨 수 있는 실효성 있는 대책들을 구상하고 교육 공동체가 해안을 모색해야 한다는 의견들이 많았습니다. 교원의 교육활동 보호를 위해서는 법률 차원의 입법적 조치가 우선적으로 필요한 사항이지만 지역 단위에서도 관련 시책을 법제화하는 노력이 필요하다는 의견에 따라 이번에 관련 조례도 추진이 됐습니다. 두 번째 주제인 행정 업무 경감과 관련해서는 학교별 전담팀 신설, 교사 1인 업무 총량자 시에 자문 및 상담을 위한 교직원 소통위원회 설치 등의 다양한 의견이 나왔습니다.
그렇군요. 학교 현장의 교육력 회복을 위한 고민들을 나눴다고 말씀해 주셨는데요. He said at the discussion to explore ways to revitalize public education in Busan, organized by the Education Committee, participants shared their concerns on two topics: protecting teachers' educational activities and reducing administrative workload to restore educational power and authority in school sites. When it comes to protection of teachers' educational activities, there were many opinions that the Educational Committee should push, came up with, and there were many opinions, right? And they should push effective measures to eliminate the gap between the rules and how effective they are in the classroom. While legislative measures at the law level are required to protect teachers' activities, efforts to legislate regular and regulated related measures at the local level are also necessary. And he said related ordinances were promoted at this time as well. And when it comes to reducing administrative workload, various opinions were expressed, including the establishment of a dedicated team for each school, the implementation of a total workload system for each teacher, and the establishment of a staff communication committee for advice and counseling. Well, on the 21st of this month, the National Assembly passed the Teachers' Rights Protection Act. So could you briefly explain the purpose and contents of this law? 국회에서는 지난 21일 교권보호 4법이 통과됐는데요. 이 법의 취지와 내용을 설명해 주시면 좋겠습니다.
네, 교권보호 4법은 무분별한 아동학대 신고, 일부 학부모의 악성 민원, 교육활동 침해 학생으로부터 학교 현장의 교원을 보호하기 위한 개정이 필요한 법률입니다. 교원지원법 즉 교원의 지위 향상 및 교육활동 보호를 위한 특별법 및 교육기본법, 초중등 교육법, 유아교육법이 이에 해당됩니다. 그 주요 내용을 말씀드리면 우선 교원의 정당한 생활 지도는 아동학대 금지 행위로 보지 않도록 하고 교원이 아동학대 범죄로 신고된 경우 정당한 사유 없이 직위 해제 처분을 받지 않도록 했으며 교육활동 침해 학생에 대한 조치를 강화하는 등의 내용을 포함하고 있습니다.
그렇군요. So he said the Teachers' Rights Protection Act is a law to protect teachers at schools from reckless reports of child abuse, malicious complaints from parents and students infringing on educational activities. These include the Teachers' Status Act, a special law to improve the status of teachers and protect their educational activities, the Basic Education Act, the Elementary and Middle School Education Act, and the Early Childhood Education Act. The main contents of the act include that legitimate guidance by teachers is not considered an act of child abuse, that teachers cannot be removed from office without just cause if they are reported for a child abuse offense, and that measures against students who infringe on educational activities are strengthened. And the Educational Committee of the Busan City Council has said normalization of public education is a key agenda item. So what institutional guarantees are needed for normalization of public education? 부산시의회 교육위원회는 공교육 정상화를 핵심 의정 과제로 정했는데요. 공교육 정상화를 위해서는 어떤 부분들을 또 이제 제도적으로 보장되어야 할까요?
예, 가장 우선적으로 최근 우리 사회 심각한 문제로 지적되고 있는 교원의 교육활동 보호 문제가 구체적으로 해답을 찾기를 바랍니다. 선생님의 생활 지도가 아동학대로 신고되고 학부모의 악성 민원에 시달리고 과중한 행정 업무로 수업이 지장받는 환경에서는 제대로 된 교육을 기대할 수 없습니다. 법률과 병행하여 조례 차원에서도 학교 현장의 정상화를 위한 다양한 의견을 지속적으로 수렴하여 제도화하는 노력이 필요하다고 봅니다. 또한 사교육 의존도가 갈수록 심화되어 가고 있는 문제도 공교육을 무력화시키는 주요 원인입니다. 공교육과 사교육의 주객이 뒤바뀌어서는 안 됩니다. 가정 형편이 어려운 아이들도 공교육 안에서 학원 수업보다 더욱 양질의 교육을 보장받을 수 있도록 하는 제도도 적극적으로 마련돼야 할 것입니다.
맞습니다. So he said, first of all, he hopes that the issue of protecting teachers' educational activities, which has recently been pointed out as one of the most serious problems in our society, will find a concrete solution. Our society cannot expect proper education in an environment where teachers' guidance is reported as child abuse, malicious complaints are made by parents, and classes are disrupted by overwhelming administrative work. In addition to legislation, they believe that efforts should be made to institutionalize efforts to normalize school conditions at the ordinance level by continuously collecting various opinions. Also, the growing reliance on private education is a major factor in undermining public education. A system that ensures that children from vulnerable families can also receive a higher quality education in public education than in academies should also be actively developed. And I absolutely agree. Well, before we wrap up today's interview, do you have any last words you want to share with our listeners and locals of Busan as well? 마지막으로 부산 시민들께 그리고 지금 듣고 계시는 청취자분들께 전하고 싶은 말씀이 있다면요?
네, 우리 부산광역시의 교육위원회는 총 7명의 교육위원들이 활동을 하고 있습니다.
네.
1차적으로 우리 부산시 교육청 예산을 편성하고 감사하는 업무 외에도 부산에 있는 650개의 초중고 그 외 각 구에 있는 많은 유치원들에 다니고 있는 우리 아이들이 학습권을 침해받지 아니하고 올바른 교육을 받을 수 있도록 우리 부산시 교육위원회는 열심히 노력하고 덧붙여 말씀드리면 공교육이 하루빨리 정상화가 되어서 우리 학교 교육청과 또 특히 학교와 학부모가 서로 간에 신뢰할 수 있도록 그 가교 역할을 열심히 잘 하는데 우리 교육위원회가 노력하겠습니다.
네.
대단히 감사합니다.
알겠습니다. So he shared that when it comes to Busan Metropolitan Council in the Education Committee, there are about 7 members that work together to support the students of Busan here. And he shared that including the elementary, middle, and high school students, he wants to help them and make sure that their rights are protected as well as the teachers as well. And he shared that between the parents, students, and the city, that he wants to continue to work to build that trust and cooperation and make sure that normalization for public education is set as their key agenda item is set as soon as possible. Well, that's going to do it for today's The Interview. Speaking with Mr. Park Chung-mook, he is the Vice Chairman of the Busan Metropolitan Council, and we talked about the ordinance that he introduced for the first time to ensure the safety of students using modular classrooms today. 오늘은 박충묵 시의원과 함께 그리고 부의장님과 함께 자세한 이야기 나눠봤는데요. 부의장님 오늘 출연 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다.
All right, and that's going to do it for today's The Interview. And we're going to take a quick song break here. This is My Interpretation by Mika.
Talk about life and talk about death and everything in between, like it's nothing. And the words are easy. You talk about me and talk about you and everything I do, like it's something that needs repeating. I don't need an alibi or for you to realize the things we left unsaid are only taking space up in our heads, making my fault win the game. Point the finger, place the blame, and toss me up and down. It doesn't matter now, 'cause I don't care if I ever talk to you again. This is not about emotion. I don't need a reason not to care what you say or what happened in the end. This is my interpretation, and it don't make sense. The first 2 weeks turn into 10. I hold my breath and wonder when it'll happen. But does it really matter if half of what you said is true and half of what I didn't do could be different? Would it make it better if we forget the things we know? Would we have somewhere to go? The only way is down. I can see that now, 'cause I don't care if I ever talk to you again. This is not about emotion. I don't need a reason not to care what you say or what happened in the end. This is my interpretation, and it don't
welcome back to Busan Worldwide. I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon. The time is now 11:33 and it's time for Up Busan 2030. This is a daily campaign segment in Busan Worldwide to learn more about World Expo until November, which is when the host city for the 2030 World Expo will be decided on. So let's jump into it. In order to ensure the successful hosting of the 2030 Busan World Expo, a key infrastructure project titled the Next Generation Busan High-Speed Railway, also called BuTX, is set to be launched as a private investment initiative. 2030 부산 세계박람회 성공적 개최를 위한 핵심 기반 시설로 꼽히는 차세대 부산형 급행철도 BuTX가 민간 투자 사업으로 본격 추진됩니다. Now, this BuTX is a high-speed railway system that utilizes low-carbon, eco-friendly hydrogen railway vehicles moving through underground tunnels. It is expected to significantly enhance the competitiveness of the Gadok-new airport. The city of Busan plans to complete and connect BuTX simultaneously with the opening of Gadok-new Airport in 2030. And with the start of BuTX, it is anticipated that not only will it connect the city of Busan within 30 minutes, but it will also create a broad regional connection linking Ulsan and Changwon in Gyeongsang-namdo and thereby consolidating Busan, Ulsan, Gyeongnam region into one economic and lifestyle zone. Also, when the Busan World Expo is held in 2030, BuTX will be presented as a core infrastructure for the carbon neutral model, and it is expected to showcase South Korea's distinctive technological competitiveness to the world. And that was the update for the Busan World Expo daily campaign here on Busan Worldwide. Now let's move on to the Daily Expo quiz. So in 1893, the Chicago World's Fair is well known as Korea's initial foray into world expos. This expo was not only a showcase of America's economic growth, but also a battleground for two geniuses engaged in a fierce current war. They fiercely competed over the bidding for the electrical concession at the expo. So here's a question for today. 엑스포 관련 문제 드리겠습니다. One of those geniuses was the famous Thomas Edison, but who was the other? 네, 엑스포의 전기사업권 입찰을 놓고 두 천재가 치열하게 경쟁을 했는데요. 한 사람은 그 유명한 토마스 에디슨이고요. 나머지 한 명은 누구일까요? So, one of the geniuses was the famous Thomas Edison. Who was the other? The answer is Nikola Tesla. 네, 정답은 바로 니콜라 테슬라입니다. Now, at the time, American cities were at a crossroads trying to decide between Thomas Edison's direct current and Nikola Tesla's alternating current systems to determine which was more efficient and cost-effective. It was a pivotal moment as steam engines were transitioning to electric power as a primary industrial energy source. In the end, Tesla's alternating current system emerged as the winner. 네, 결국 승자는 테슬라의 교류 시스템이었는데요. The Chicago World's Fair Judging Committee recognized the advantages of Tesla's affordable and efficient alternating current power system. So very interesting to see and hear about the history of current and power and electricity just from World Expos. And that's it for Up Busan 2030, a daily campaign for the Busan World Expo. We will continue this segment until November. And with that, let's take a quick song break. This is On Time by Surfaces.
So I'll be on time. Don't need a Rolex on my wrist to know I got your little hand in mine. And we can throw out all our issues, watch the minutes cruise by. Who cares if it makes no sense? And we don't have to choose wisely, no. That I'll always be on time.
I say the word and I promise I'll be right outside. Give me a minute and you'll see I'm not a regular guy. I got a trick that makes me always wanna roll the dice. If they say we won't make it, tell them I ain't taking advice. And I'll be over when we're older waiting at your door. I only leave you like the tide washes back the shore. I promise everything between after and before.
So I'll be on time. Don't need a Rolex on my wrist to know I got your little hand in mine. And we can throw out all our issues, watch the minutes cruise by. Who cares if it makes no sense? And we don't have to choose wisely, know that I'll always be on time. Haven't checked my ETA, it's been a cool minute. But leave the light on for me, this is not a new visit. Used to pick you up from class in my blue Civic. Didn't care what we were driving, long as you in it. And I'll be over when we're older, waiting at your door. I only leave you like the tire wash is back too short. I promise everything between after and before. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'll be on time. I'll be on time. Don't need a Rolex on my wrist to know I got your little hand in mine. And we can throw out all our issues, watch the minutes cruise by. Who cares if it makes no sense? And we don't have to choose wisely, know that I'll always be on time.
Beyond the borders of Busan, bringing the world back to you. Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon.
Welcome back to Busan Worldwide. Now it's time for Stats Spotlight. Busan, Ulsan, Gyeongnam. In Korean, 통계로 보는 부울경. This is a special segment where we have every last Wednesday of the month. So it's definitely a special segment that we have prepared for you for today. Now, tomorrow marks the beginning of the 6-day Chuseok holiday. Now, during the Chuseok, we often hear about holiday syndrome, holiday blues. And this term refers to the physical and psychological symptoms caused by the stress of the holiday, which can be a joyful festival for maybe some children and whatnot, but can be stressful for those who are married. Now, the Southeastern Regional Statistics Office recently released statistics that shed light on new trends related to marriage and sought to understand how satisfied married men and women are with their family relationships. 이 명절만 되면 단골로 등장하는 뉴스거리가 있습니다. 바로 명절 증후군이죠. 이는 명절에 받는 스트레스로 정신적 아니면 육체적 증상을 말하는 건데요. 동남지방통계청에서는 결혼을 둘러싼 새로운 양상을 이해하고 기혼 남녀는 결혼으로 맺어진 가족관계에 얼마나 만족을 하고 있는지를 남편과 아내의 관점에서 살펴본 통계를 발표했습니다. So, joining us today is Ms. Gu Jae-nam, head of the Agricultural Survey Division at the Southeastern Regional Statistics Office. 네, 동남지방통계청 농업조사과 구재남 팀장님 나오셨는데요. 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하세요.
네.
동남지방통계청 농업조사과 구재남 팀장입니다.
네,
반갑습니다.
네, 반갑습니다. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio. Definitely just lights up the studio with a smile. Now, first, can you tell us about the family relationship satisfaction survey among married men and women in the southeastern region and tell us how many people took part in this survey? 이 동남권 지역 기혼 남녀를 대상으로 한 가족관계 만족도 조사 통계는 어떤 사람들이 대상이고 모두 몇 명이 참여했나요?
예, 기혼 남녀 가족관계 만족도에 대한 조사 결과는 2022년 통계청 사회조사 가족관계 만족도 관련 항목을 마이크로 데이터, 즉 조사 원시 자료를 활용하여 분석한 것입니다. 통계청 사회조사는 전국 2만 7천여 가구의 13세 이상이 조사 대상인데 동남권에서 응답한 결혼하여 배우자가 있는 기혼 남녀 6,800여 명이 분석 대상입니다.
I see. So the survey on marital satisfaction was conducted based on the microdata from the 2022 social survey by Statistics Korea. The survey included responses from about 6,800 married men and women residing in the southeastern region who participated in the social survey, which targeted individuals aged 13 and older in over 27,000 households nationwide. 10년 전과 비교했을 때 동남권 지역 기혼 남녀의 가족 구성원과 만족도가 높아졌나요? 아니면 낮아졌나요?
네, 전반적인 가족 관계 만족도는 남녀 모두 높아졌습니다. 10년 전보다 남성은 6.0%포인트 상승한 62.5%, 여성은 6.3%포인트 상승한 57.8%가 가족관계에 만족하는 것으로 나타났습니다. 연령대별로 살펴보면 30대 후반을 제외한 전 연령대에서 남성의 만족도가 여성보다 높았습니다.
그렇군요. So overall family relationship satisfaction has increased for both men and women compared to a decade ago. So men's satisfaction has increased by 6.0 percentage points to 62.5%, and women's satisfaction has increased by 6.3 percentage points to 57.8%. In all age groups except for the late 30s, men reported high satisfaction than women when it comes to satisfaction with their family members and whatnot. 이 10년 전보다 만족도가 높아진 이유가 뭐라고 보십니까?
예, 그 원인에 대해서는 전문가의 추가적인 진단이 필요하겠지만 다른 요인들도 있겠지만 과거에 비해 혼인을 하지 못하고 있는 분들이 증가하였고 과거에 건의적이던 며느리와 시부모의 관계, 아내와 남편 등의 가족관계가 수평적으로 개선되었고 또 관계가 나빴던 가족이 이혼과 사별 등으로 해체되었기 때문인 것으로 보입니다. 이는 인구 통계와 이혼 통계에서 연령대별 유배우자 인구 비율, 즉 연령대별 인구 중 배우자가 있는 인구의 비율이 감소한 것을 보면 알 수 있습니다.
그렇군요. So while further expert analysis may be needed to determine the exact reasons, some factors could include an increase in the number of people who have remained unmarried, improvement in family relationship that used to be a bit more hierarchical, such as relationship between daughters-in-law and parents-in-law, wives and husbands, and the dissolution of previously strained family relationship through divorce and separation. 하지만 남녀 간의 차이가 있죠. 가족에 대한 전체적인 만족도는 어떻게 나타났습니까?
예, 전반적인 가족 관계 만족도는 2022년 남편은 62.5%, 아내는 57.8%가 만족하는 것으로 나타나 남편이 아내보다 4.7%포인트 더 높게 나타났습니다.
그렇군요. So overall family relationship satisfaction in 2022 was 62.5% for husbands and 57.8% for wives, with husbands showing 4.7 percentage points higher satisfaction compared to wives. 그런데 만족도가 가장 높은 가족 구성원에 대한 답변은 남녀가 같았다고 하더라고요.
네, 맞습니다. 남녀 모두 자녀에 대한 만족도가 가장 높았는데요. 여성은 81.4%, 남성은 78.3%가 자녀에 대해 만족하는 것으로 나타났습니다. 여성이 3.1%포인트 더 높았습니다.
그렇군요. How interesting. So both men and women reported the highest satisfaction levels in their relationship with their children, with 81.4% for women and 78.3% for men. And women's satisfaction with their children was 3.1 percentage points higher than men's. 이 반면에 시가와 처가를 중심으로 한 조사에서 남녀 간 차이가 컸다고 하던데 자세한 내용 전해주시죠.
예, 남편은 아내에 비해 배우자와 처가 쪽 처부모, 처형제 자매에 대한 만족도가 높은 반면 아내는 남편에 비해 배우자와 시가 쪽 시부모, 시형제 자매에 대한 만족도가 낮은 양상은 10년 전과 마찬가지로 지속되었습니다. 남녀의 가족 구성원별로 만족도가 높은 순서를 각각 살펴보면 여성은 1순위가 자녀, 2순위 자기 부모, 3순위 배우자, 4순위 자기 형제 자매, 5순위 시부모, 6순위 시형제 자매 순이었고 남성은 1순위 자녀, 2순위 배우자, 3순위 자기 부모, 4순위 처부모, 5순위 처형제 자매, 6순위 자기 형제 자매 순이었습니다. 즉 여성은 C가 관련 C부모, C 형제자매가 만족도가 낮아 C자가 들어가는 시금치도 싫어한다는 것이 농담만이 아닌 것으로 나타났고 마누라가 예쁘면 처갓집 말뚝에 절한다 이런 말이 있듯 남성은 배우자 만족도 순위가 2순위로 높아서인지 처부모, 처형제자매 만족도도 높아서 자기 형제자매 만족도가 최하위 순위인 것으로 나타나 이것이 매우 흥미로웠습니다.
그렇군요. And now she shared that husbands consistently reported higher satisfaction with their spouses, in-laws on their spouse's side, and their spouse's siblings compared to the wives. Women prioritize children, their parents, spouses, their own siblings, in-laws on their spouse's side, and their spouse's sibling in terms of satisfaction hierarchy in that order. In contrast, men said children, spouses, their own parents, in-laws on their spouse's side, their spouse's siblings, and then their own siblings. And these results suggest women have lower satisfaction with their in-law relationships, which is why it makes sense there are some holiday blues and holiday syndrome when it comes to Chuseok and different holidays coming up. 이 자신의 형제자매 만족도에서도 남녀의 차이가 나타났다고요?
네, 정말 재미있는 결과인데요. 여성은 자녀, 자기 부모, 배우자 다음에 4순위의 자기 형제자매가 있었는데 남성은 처형제자매보다 낮은 최하위 6순위였습니다.
그렇군요. How interesting. So while both men and women ranked their children, parents, and spouses highest in terms of satisfaction, the satisfaction level with one's own siblings was much lower for men, ranking as the lowest factor, while women ranked it fourth in satisfaction above their in-laws. 이 결혼 가치관 조사 결과는 어떻게 나왔습니까? 자세히 설명해 주시죠.
네, 가족관계 만족도에서 보았듯이 아내의 만족도가 낮은 것과 같은 맥락에서 결혼을 해야 한다는 찬성 비율은 시대와 지역을 막론하고 여성이 남성보다 낮았고 남녀 모두 10년 전보다 찬성 비율은 감소하고 해도 좋고 하지 않아도 좋다는 중립 비율은 증가했습니다. 대체로 결혼에 찬성하는 비율은 연령이 높은 층에서 높았고 학력과 소득이 높을수록 낮은 경향을 보였습니다.
I see. So as seen in the results of family relationship satisfaction, women had lower support for the idea of getting married compared to men, regardless of the era, age, or region. Both men and women showed a decrease in the percentage of those strongly in favor of marriage, while the percentage of those neutral towards marriage, neither supporting nor opposing, increased. Generally, support for marriage was higher among older age groups and those with higher education and income as well. Now, 가족관계 만족도는 어떤 경우에 높게 나타나는 경향을 보였나요?
소득과 학력이 높을수록 또 남녀가 가사를 공평하게 분담할 때 그리고 부모가 생활비를 스스로 해결할 경우 그렇지 못한 경우보다 높게 나타났습니다.
그렇군요. So family relationship satisfaction was notably higher when couples share household chores equally, have parents who independently manage their own living expenses, and have higher income and education levels. And this was very interesting to just look at overall stats spotlight in terms of Busan, Ulsan, Gyeongnam, in terms of marriage and family satisfaction. But before you go, please share with us what you maybe want to share with us before you go. 마지막으로 한 말씀 남겨주시죠.
예, 내일부터 추석 명절 연휴입니다. 코로나 팬데믹 시대를 지나며 명절 문화가 많이 바뀌긴 했지만 여전히 명절만 되면 언론에 여성의 가사 스트레스에 대한 이야기가 많이 나오지 않습니까? 따라서 이번 분석 결과에서 나왔듯이 부부가 가사를 공평하게 분담할 때 여성뿐만 아니라 남성도 전반적인 가족관계 만족도가 공평하게 분담하지 못하는 경우보다 크게 높게 나타났기 때문에 따라서 부부가 가사를 공평하게 분담하려는 노력이 필요하고 이런 노력이 진행될 때 명절 증후군도 줄어들고 결혼 만족도도 상승하며 미혼 여성의 결혼에 대한 긍정적인 태도가 증가할 수 있을 것으로 기대됩니다. 감사합니다.
네. So she shared that as we enter the Chuseok holiday, although the holiday culture has evolved a lot in the post-pandemic era, we still often hear about the stress of household chores during the holidays, primarily affecting women. So as the analysis results suggest, efforts by couples to share household chores more equally can help reduce that holiday syndrome, increasing marital satisfaction and fostering more positive attitude towards marriage among unmarried women as well. And before we let you go, I'm going to check out some of the messages coming in. Thursday님께서는 모든 결과들이 다 흥미롭네요. 현자의 부산 시민들의 가족에 대한 생각이 잘 나온 것 같고 결과에 완전 공감합니다. 동감합니다. 이렇게 보내주셨습니다. Yes, I definitely agree as well. It's very interesting to see the overall statistics and numbers of our region when it comes to marriage. 네, 오늘은 동남지방통계청 농어업 조사과 구재남 팀장과 함께 자세한 이야기 나눠봤는데요. 팀장님 오늘 출연 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다.
All right, and that's going to do it for today's Stats Spotlight. Busan, Ulsan, Gyeongnam talking about, of course, the marriage satisfaction level with men and women as well. And the time is now 11:54, which means we do have to wrap up pretty soon. And this program was produced by Tina Park, written by Bang Mira. I've been your host, Stephanie Yoon. And the final song for today is Hero by Family of the Year. I'll see you tomorrow.
Big man, I just wanna fight with everyone else. Your masquerade, I don't wanna be a part of your parade. Everyone deserves a chance to walk with everyone else while holding down a job to keep my girl around, and maybe buy me some new strings and her a night out on the weekend. And we can whisper things, secrets from our American dreams. Baby needs some protection, I'm a kid like everyone else. So let me go. I don't wanna be your hero. I don't wanna be a big man. I just wanna fight like everyone else.
Hi, I'm Roberto Fernandez from Mallorca, Spain. I have been living here